we say AI. So AI took my job. Okay. So what is AI? Like, what are we actually talking about here, Andres? When I say AI took my job.
Yeah, I think we're talking about generative artificial intelligence.
Okay. This idea of automation.
Yes, AI automates a whole bunch of tasks, but the thing about generative AI is that it can start imitating a lot of human thinking
Yeah.
that we have actually paid people to do and required on that skill. But now, generative AI can not only do it, but it can do it significantly faster for a much lower cost.
Right. For example, just so that we're all on the same page as we walk through this with our listeners and our watchers here, is I can go on my app right now for Bank of America and move a whole bunch of money and ask them questions about my FICO score and do all this other stuff, and I'm not interacting with a person, but they're answering a lot of things and helping me with my money and retirement and all this other stuff. Whereas in the past, I would have to call and wait, right?
And talk to a real person.
And talk to a real person, which I actually still prefer. But at the same time, I actually just got 5 things done with an AI generated chat.
But it goes even way beyond that in that that's a transactional experience, right? But, now we're talking about coding, right? That it was a very highly valued skill that took not only knowledge but creativity and design, but it took a long time passing, and it takes humans a lot more time to do than AI. But then also writing, not only memos or transactional pieces, but it could even be somewhat creative pieces and essays that make a case and an argument, papers, right? And so where is it that now, where's the human differentiator in all that? Number one. Number two, the market may not care as much about the human differentiator as long as they get something practical that sort of does the job. So, but we have had human beings with skills and education and certifications and experience actually doing that. And now that AI can do it, we're losing jobs.
There are mass layoffs, there are these things where, oh my gosh, this industry goes away or this function goes away. And so 80 people, lose their job, or it goes to another group of people who have this type of skill. For example, when I was in healthcare, there was a huge push that in order for you to be a leader, a clinical nurse leader, you did have to have a bachelor's in nursing. Prior to that, you could actually have a certification in nursing. And so all of a sudden, nurses who had been there for 25, 30 years, so senior level nurses who were running the clinics, who did not have bachelors, who had certifications, all of a sudden they were displaced. Either they lost their job or they lost their ranking after running years and years and years of these clinics or floors in hospitals, to people who were just out of bachelor's with the BN and saying, okay, so here I am. But it feels like, at least to me, it feels like this is a lot more disruptive and problematic to people. This AI took my job, as opposed to someone else with,
Technology has been displacing all kinds of jobs for the longest time.
For a long time.
But it has tended to be what would be more classically considered manual labor, blue collar labor. And so that's been happening, and it's been displaced millions and millions and millions of people, not only in those moments of great transition to technological change, but then over time, whole industries or whole job roles and functions disappeared. So what's happening now is that now white-collar jobs that often require college education, office work, those are the jobs. Those jobs tended to not be affected by automation and scalable digital solutions. AI now is elevating a mechanization of labor, or an acceleration by standardization or scalable solutions that then takes away the manual part, and now it's actually doing the mental part. And so what feels different is that a lot of people like us in corporate organizations and white collar jobs are going, oh my God, if this what's going on, but we're being potentially displaced in ways that many workers who did manual labor have been displaced over generations.
This is a really, really interesting distinction that you talked about, is the intellectual, kind of like shift, right? And potentially, I wonder, Andres, do you feel that that's possibly where some of the, kind of like, it's a stab to the heart, but now this is like the turn of the knife. The reason why is because when you and I originally thought of this, we thought about the topic, AI took my job and my confidence. So, and we took that, we didn't really, we're not really talking about the confidence people, but I think that we're like inferring it now a little bit. Because if AI is taking my job and AI can think, then it's like, wait a second.
Right. It's not only it took my job, like the actual job I'm doing, or it could take my job. It may not have happened yet. But it's taking a whole category out of the marketplace. So that my loss of a job is not just a loss of a job, like a traditional layoff. It's a loss of a skill set that I provided that is not needed anymore by a human like me because AI can do it.
And that I was reliant on that. I was reliant on that skill to be able to get a job in order for me to get paid, right? And now all of that doesn't exist.
Yeah, and actually, let's put a statistic on it.
Yeah.
According by 2030, according to the World Economic Forum, AI and automation may displace 92 million jobs globally. So the scale of this is extraordinary, right?
Yeah.
And it affects all kinds of roles, whether they're clerical or paralegals, but also consultants, or radiologists, right? And so the question is, where does it stop? But here's the twist in the story. And I want to say this carefully because there's a reality in the liminal space between the displacement and what I'm going to say right now. And that AI is also going to generate 170 million new roles for a net gain of 78 million plus positions that do not exist today, right? And actually, if you think about the role of technology over time, let's look at history. The 2/3 of jobs today did not exist in 1940. So right now, many of us are doing jobs that did not exist and now exist because of technology. So we have to be careful because it is an existential threat. However, we need to talk about how do we survive and thrive in this in-between space, and what are those net gain jobs that I need to get ready for, and how do I do it now?
And how do I do it now?